What if I told you these 5 art projects I made were all mostly done in one art program? Now, what if I told you this program capable of digital art, animation, 3D modeling, and so much more also happens to be completely free? Today, I'm going to show you what this amazing multifunctional software is, how I used it to make these art projects, as well as another secret 6th project at the end of the video. So first off, what is this all-in-one software in the first place? Well, you most likely already heard of it, but not for its massive array of functions. Instead, you might know it for its main ability to make fried dough. I will forever love Blender till the end of time. If Blender has only one fan, it's me. If Blender has no fans, then I'm no longer alive and I somehow blame my death on Adobe. But while you might only know Blender from the 3D donut tutorials, what you might not know is that Blender can do so much more than just 3D modeling. Blender's Grease Pencil has an entire illustration and 2D animation mode you can access at any time, and the added element that it's in a 3D environment adds so many possibilities to your artwork. Also, although I didn't have the time to learn it yet, geometry nodes let you make amazing artwork using the power of the one thing I hate the most, math. And even if you don't use Blender to do 2D art, you can still use it to make your own art come to life. This program gives you endless possibilities to create. It seems the only true limit to Blender is your imagination on how you use it. So now that you hopefully understand the sheer utility of Blender, here's how I use it to make all of these, starting with... Real quick, before we continue, I'd like to make it clear that this video isn't a tutorial. Rather, it's a showcase on how useful Blender is, and an attempt to persuade you to learn it yourself. There will be a playlist of tutorials I used in the description, and you should totally check it out after you watch this video. With that out of the way, here's my first Blender art of the day featuring the Omori cast. A good thing about Blender's Grease Pencil is that it uses math to do the lines, which comes with certain conveniences, such as easy fill tools, cutting off the edge of lines, pushing around specific parts of the art, and giving the line art different modifiers, easily emulating that iconic Omori art style. However, it means that you might need some getting used to because the pen and UI feels different from other drawing programs. Even so, if you want to achieve a certain art style that's normally hard to do elsewhere, it still gets the job done. Of course, Blender is still a 3D software at its core, and one of the main reasons you might be hesitant to learn Blender is, 3D looks hard to do. Learning an entirely new skill that you know nothing about is pretty intimidating. But here's my hot take on this. You can just watch the first 1, maybe 2 Blender donut tutorials, and that will be like 80% of what you need to know about modeling. Whatever else you might need, like how to make water, how to color your 3D art, how to animate your models like a puppet, that's all something you can learn on the way with separate tutorials. In fact, here are all the Blender functions or techniques I use while making this that isn't included in the first 2 donut videos. Mind you, half of these are just either knowing the existence of a button that does the job for you, or something you can learn online real quick. Maybe weight painting might be hard to work around, but if you look at the right tutorials, I'd say you can learn how to make your first low poly model within like a week of learning. But what if you want to make something fundamentally 2D with the added bonuses of Blender's modifiers and 3D environment? Surprise! Grease Pencil can also do animation! The benefits of Blender's math-based drawing we've discussed before can also be applied here. But once again, you'll still need some time to get used to the new environment. I've seen some people make some cool stuff using the advantage of drawing in the 3D world, but I've already spent too much time on this 18-second animation, and I really didn't have so much time to think of a way to implement it. Looking back, I could have added some floating 3D rocks when Gabriel yells his famous line, but just know that there are many ways to use Blender in 2D animation as well.
Can you say your famous line? Yes, I can do that. They always like it when I do this one. It's Gaben time!
This time I just made something because I saw a video about it and it looked cool. Louis Zong has this video on how he approaches Blender as an illustration tool. He basically models and sculpts shapes like it's Play-Doh and put image textures onto them like a sticker. Although this piece of Gochild isn't as good as Louis Zong's work, I wanted to include this part specifically because I believe it's another showcase on how Blender can create different art forms just by thinking outside the box. Here we have another cool way I saw someone use Blender online. Puppet animation, or tweening animation. Invincible edit animation? Whatever, you get the point. Viola is an amazing puppet animator who animates other people's art, and he normally uses Adobe After Effects, but one day he uploaded a short video on how he used Blender instead, and I was like, the art of my Monster Hunter OC was made in Clip Studio Paint, and after drawing each artwork, I made extra layers if there were any overlaps, added them into Blender, used the tessellation add-on, added a rig and did some weight painting, and just did some quick animations. Now, if I get to make cool animations of my OC and also say fuck you to Adobe by not using their software, I see this as an absolute win. And that's all the cool projects I made last week. Well, except for the secret 6th project I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and you're probably wondering what that could be. Well, what if I told you you've already been looking at the 6th project for the past few minutes? That's right, this entire video was edited in Blender. Believe it or not, Blender has its own video editing mode. I never actually used it, but I decided to try it out in order to show you just how versatile Blender actually is. And since the script is written before the editing process, I'll just bring out me from the future to tell you about the Blender editing experience. Take it away, me!
It's okay.
The experience of making every other project in this video ranged from decent to game-changing, and they each all have a reason on why you would choose Blender to make them instead of any other industry standard. But editing? As of 2026, Blender version 5.1, I see no reason to use this over any paid or free alternative. It's not bad, but when it comes to editing, anything Blender can do, DaVinci Resolve can do better, which is what I usually use to edit, and it's also free. Maybe let me know if you could tell the difference in editing software in my other videos, but unless there's a game-changing update, I don't see a reason to come back to Blender's video editor for a long time. But even so, I like to think that the mere existence of this feature goes to show how much Blender is user-friendly. In fact, if you were to make a 3D project with industry standard software, you'll most likely have to buy all of these programs, and pay a total amount of this much to Megacorps. But Blender already comes with all the features you'll need for 3D, and then some. In my eyes, its entire existence has brought not just 3D, but all forms of art into a new renaissance. And if you want to see more cool projects I did with Blender, check out this video right here where I used Blender to make a 3D anime figure. Like and sub if you enjoyed the vid, and I'll see y'all next time. Also, random rant, why the fuck does it take so long to render using the video editor? I'm supposed to be playing Monster Hunter Wilds with my friends right now, and the rendering took so long they changed games. God damn it!